There were two terrible sins that took place during the time of the desert. These two sins relate directly to the 3 weeks, generally, and to Tisha B'Av. The two sins were the sins of the golden calf, on the one hand, and the sin of the spies on the other hand. The sin of the golden calf took place on the 17th day of Tammuz. So therefore, the beginning of the 3 weeks match with this day when the Jews rejected Moshe, rejected God, and built a golden calf. How interesting it is that Moshe took the tablets and threw them on the ground. Holy tablets, holy stone was broken. Ironically, in the future, the holy walls of Jerusalem will be breached on that very same day. But the second sin, the sin of the spies, is related to Tisha B'Av itself. Specifically, I'll relate to the Second Temple. We're told the Second Temple was destroyed because the Jews hated one another. Where did this hatred come from? Where do we see this? So I want to point out something which is really remarkable if one doesn't know it. The idea that Tisha B'Av is the day that the temple would be destroyed is actually written in the Bible itself, in Tanakh itself, in the book of Tehillim. In the 106th chapter, we're told, and I'll read the words, that you complained in your tents, and you didn't listen to the voice of God. V'yisayado, it says in the next verse, Lapilotom b'midbar, and that's the reason why that generation died in the desert, which is the generation of the spies. And then it continues and it says, Ulapil zaram b'gayim ulazartam ba'artzot. And similarly in the future, their descendants will be spread among the nations, spread among different lands. Which means it wasn't just that the spies and their generation were going to stay in the desert. It says, as the rabbis tell us, that it's going to be a bechiyah l'dorot, crying for the generations. In the future, the temple will be destroyed on this day. I think it says that in the book of Psalms. So what's interesting about this is, where do we see the hatred over here? It said in that first verse that I cited, and they cried in their tents. This story is told over in the book of Bamidbar and repeated in the book of Devarim. And they were told that they cried and they said that all these terrible things happen because God doesn't love us. This is unbelievably remarkable. What did these people eat for breakfast that morning? They ate the manna that fell from heaven. These people were protected by the divine cloud. These people had all their needs taken care of, miraculously left Egypt. And they're crying in their tents saying that God doesn't love them. The very core of sinat chinam, of hating someone for no reason, actually took place when the Jews felt hatred towards God for no reason whatsoever. And Rashi on that verse in Dvarim says, God didn't hate you. God loves you. But nonetheless, that's what happened through the generations. We make mistakes, we've become dysfunctional. We get convinced because of perceived slights that people hate us, and then we pay them back with interest. That's what it means by baseless hatred, sinat chinam. We pay people back with interest because we feel that they hate us. And the truth is that there's so many Jews who love other Jews, but we think the other guy hates us. Just like that night in the desert, we thought that God hated us. And for that reason, they ended up spending a whole generation, 40 years in the desert. And for that reason, we're told that the temple is going to be destroyed on that day, and the Jews will be sent throughout the world.